Hello, Allison.
Hola,
Hola, ¿cómo
buenas
estás?
noches.
Sí, sí. Today is a good day. We both enjoyed the start of some summer weather, and
Yes,
the sun was out all day. So hopefully, you got out to enjoy it a little bit.
we were outside a lot today.
Good.
So, yeah, we made a lot of excuses to walk around and soak up as much of the sun as we can. So,
Yeah.
yeah, very
We
thankful for that.
Yeah, we need to take advantage of it when we can. For all of you who are tuning in to watch today's episode of Leave It to the Experts, I want to make sure you know where you are at because Allison and I know where we're at. So let's lead off by sharing with you who we are. If you're tuning into today's episode for the first time, Allison and I are co hosts of this video podcast series labeled Headline Leave It to the Experts. For those of you who have an interest, you know someone who you feel is a great subject matter expert, reach out to us. Simply scan the QR codes. We look forward to your help to starting a conversation with that person who we can bring on board as a guest in an upcoming episode. So, that being said, Allison, you have the honor today, to introduce your connection, who certainly, from my read of his bio, who certainly is an expert in a very interesting business. So, why
Mhm.
don't you lead off with telling us about Marcin?
Yes. So, I'm very excited for the guest that we're going to chat with tonight. Marcin Lepczynski has found this really interesting niche where he drew from his own personal experience, his
Oh,
pain,
wow.
his struggle, his growth, and turned the lessons that he learned into a now growing and thriving business where he's also able to help many other people. And once we get into the real nitty gritty subject matter of what is this pain, this thing I'm talking about that Marcin went through, I think, unfortunately or fortunately, there are probably many members of our audience and our respective networks who can relate, myself included. I'm part of the club.
Yeah,
So I just think what he's doing is really fascinating. And I think our audience is going to appreciate not only the story of his personal growth and comeback, but how he's now taking those lessons to the masses and sharing his expertise.
I love comeback stories. So
Me
let's
too.
let's bring him into the studio, and then you guys can launch into your conversation. I'm going to be
Yay.
active listening and participating at the same time.
Sounds good. There he is. Hey, Marcin, how are you?
Good, good. How are you, Alison? How are you, William?
We're good. Thanks for
Doing
sharing your
great.
time and joining us tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I was teasing a little bit without actually pinpointing exactly what it is you do. And I would love if you could give us like a 30 to 45-second wham bam of what it is you do in this new chapter of your life.
Thank you. So, welcome all. I'm very happy that you guys are here today. And my name is Marcin Łapczyński. I am a certified divorce coach, transition recovery coach, motivational speaker, single dad, divorced dad of two beautiful children. And as a divorce coach, what I do, I help men, I help women that unfortunately divorces do happen. I help them, I guide them, I help them find clarity through the very painful process that we are not being taught how to go through divorces on our own. So I help individuals to deal with their emotions. I help them guide them through the journey of the divorce because it is such an unknown field that we're not knowing what we're getting ourselves into. And we make decisions based on our emotions because we are so angry, we are so upset at our, ex-husband, ex-spouse. And later on in the long run, it is costing us thousands of dollars. So as my job, as your divorce guide, is to help you, right? To be there with you is like hiring a guide when you travel to another country. So this is my job, is make the process as easy as possible, as painless as possible, to
Yeah.
help you, get to the other end and become stronger, bigger, better person. When you look back at the process, what you have gone through, then you can say that, you know what? I did this for myself. I did this for my children. I was the best self.
So that is such an eloquent way to describe what you do and how you're helping people. And of course, now you sound very composed and, very emotionally mature and, like someone who's wise, like an expert and qualified to give us this kind of advice. But I want to travel back in time for just a moment and first see if you can. Well, I wanted to ask you to share with our audience, number one, how long ago did you personally have the experience of going through a divorce? And I know this is going to be hard to kind of sum up in a nutshell, but looking back from where you are now as a coach, what would you say is the most valuable lesson, if you had to pick one, that you've extracted from that experience?
Wow. What a great question. So it has been actually in April 4 years since
Oh,
I have been through my divorce. I have been with my ex-wife. We have met and we were high school sweethearts. We have been together for 15 years and we have been married for 12 years.
Wow.
wow.
Yes. Most valuable lesson, if I look back and I reflect right now, is why did I punish myself so much, especially in the early stages of the divorce,
Mhm.
especially with fear, with anxiety, with depression, with many sleepless nights. Many nights, I cried myself to sleep. I was holding all of my emotions internally, and it was affecting my health. It was affecting just my lifestyle. I couldn't even function. I couldn't even go to work or do anything. So what will be some of the valuable lessons that I can do is, my friend did tell me, hey, see a therapist or someone. I said no.
Mhm.
Back then I did not know about divorce coaches, because if I had this information, what I know now 4 years ago, first thing what I would do, obviously, hire a divorce coach, because it
Mhm.
would be so much more easier. Because you know what, I am hiring someone to just take me by my hand and will tell me step by step, and I will know what to expect, how to think, how to act, to be as professional as I can be in the most traumatic event that has happened in my life.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, totally. And, I appreciate one of the things that I think is interesting. First of all, until I met you on Facebook, I had never heard of a divorce coach. So that in and of itself, I think, is a really interesting concept, that you're in this space somewhere between a therapist and an attorney and a hype man and a best friend. You're kind of all these things rolled into one. But the other thing that I find really interesting, and I appreciate what you just shared, is that from a male perspective, right off the bat, you're being vulnerable and even sharing with us how much your divorce impacted you negatively and how emotional you were going through the process. So, do you find for your clients right now, well, first of all, I'd like to know, do you find yourself working with more men or more women? And do you market to men differently than you market to women? Do you coach men differently than you coach women? And what are some of the kind of nuances, I guess, in approaching a client from the female side or the male side?
Mm. So when I started my coaching journey, and when I look back, at first I wanted to help, because I didn't know the industry very well yet, right? When I was starting my journey, and my first thing was to help men, right? And why
Mhm.
was that, not women? The reason why, because from the stories that I have heard and just based on my own experience, that we men, maybe, if I had to look at the percentage, there are some men that do ask for help, but I would say vast majority don't, because because the society teaches us, to be strong, right? To be tough, not to shed a tear, right? Hey, we can handle it. I'm a big boy. I got this, right? Yeah, you
Mhm.
do. But you know what? For how long? When we do go through divorces, no one teaches us how to handle this emotional overwhelm, how to handle the negativity that we blame, that the punishment that we put ourselves through. And what is happening inside is we especially for us men, for me, what was happening to me, I was living in this emotional prison.
Mm.
I was just, like emotional. I was living in this penitentiary prison because
Mhm.
I was just internally self-destructing with everything that I was putting myself through, and it was impacting my body. But I did not know how to help myself. So I started first with men. But as I started my coaching journey, then when more people found out, what I do, what niche I'm in, and who am I serving, then right now is 95% or 98% are female clients.
Wow.
Wow.
And I applaud all the women, single moms, divorced moms that are actually asking for help, that they are
Mhm.
not afraid. And there is a smaller percentage of men that actually do, but it would be 98 to 2% ratio, I would say.
Wow. One thing I think is kind of interesting about that data point as well is, and again, it's like I keep kind of bouncing back in time in my mind to when I went through my own divorce. And even as a female, I experienced a lot of the same things that you're talking about. It's a little embarrassing. It's, even though it shouldn't be, it's so personal. You get sick of hearing yourself tell the sob story over and over again. And after a while, you just kind of talk yourself into believing that you can do it all on your own. But what I think is really a silver lining of that data point that you share is that if you are one of the first people, the first men post divorce that these women are connecting with, I think in a way that's a little bit of a stepping stone to like being able to trust a man again, or being able to build, the foundation of a positive, productive relationship with a man, and not living in that headspace of they're all evil or they're all cheaters or they're all abusive, or whatever situation someone is coming from. So I find that really interesting that it's kind of flipped now, and so many women are seeking out your help. And to that end, I wonder, when we are taught, because women are kind of taught this too, to like not share too much, not say too much. These are personal things that you talk about with your family or your partner. You don't share these kinds of things. How do you get your clients to let down walls, let down their guard, and share, especially when they're in the beginning of what is this big traumatic event?
No, very very good question. And how do I do it, right? As I look at the whole situation, I always like to put myself in my client's situation, right? I experienced it. I've been in their shoes as well, and opening up to a stranger, sharing my issues, everything that is going on with me, it's pretty tough, right? To share everything that I'm going through, because you know what, I'm always going to think about that, hey, how weak I am, right? That I do not know how to cope with my emotions. I don't know how to deal with my life, and then the life after the divorce, right? But what I love doing, right, I have learned a lot, through the certification program that I have, actually one of the mindset coaches that I hired. That was the best decision as well that I made. I have learned many tools, how we
Mhm.
human beings operate and so on. And after having all these tools, right, and just recreating this story for myself when the clients come in, what
Mhm.
I love to do is, that's why I prefer one-on-one coaching, because I do group coaching as well, but one-on-one they're so intimate, right? Where we
Yeah.
have a safe space, there's no judgment zone or anything, where you can be vulnerable, right? There's a certain, what I love, about myself, the way I coach, and is how do I approach, individuals, right? Because you see what this man, what this woman is going through right now, right? It's they are so emotionally overwhelmed, right? They just have so much deep inside go inside, and what I love to do is, hear their stories, right? What is it that they're really going through, right? And once they start, sharing their stories, because other men, other women love when someone is listening to them, where actually they can express how I am feeling, right? That, oh my goodness, you actually are listening to me, right? What am I going through right now? So this is how, what I like to open up my clients, and then they adopt this comfort zone where now, okay, hey, he trusts me, right? We have a good energy, we have good vibration, where he does not judge me, right? He's not
Mhm.
telling me that, hey, you're such a bad wife, ex, right, or you have been or anything. You know what? In my world, there's no negativity. I love to empower, inspire, men and women that are going through the divorces. Is what I have been taught is to show, through my coaching program, is to show that man, that woman, those gifts, those talents that are hidden deeply inside of us, because that's what one person did for me, and he
Mhm.
completely changed my life. You know what? He rebuilt who I was, because I had this victim mindset, right? I was broken down, I was kicked, I was beaten, I lost my self identity, right? I was broken into thousand pieces. And now what happens? How do you rebuild without
Mhm.
seeking any help? How can you do this on your own,
It's
right?
such a valuable tool set, and I think it could apply to so many other situations beyond just divorce. I mean, loss of a loved one, loss of a career, end of a serious relationship that wasn't necessarily a marriage. There are so many milestones in life where if you don't have those tools in your toolkit, if you've never been taught what you're speaking of, even some very highly functioning, highly capable, highly educated adults can really, like you said, kind of break into a thousand pieces.
Mhm.
I want to have you share with our audience a little bit about this process of like becoming certified and kind of like establishing your credentials and everything. But before we get into that, I wanted to ask you, at what point during this seemingly insurmountable pain that you were dealing with, did something dawn on you? Did a switch go off where you said, I might be able to turn this experience into something that can benefit other people, that can actually be a business model that, can transcend boundaries and barriers? When did the light bulb go off for you?
So, long story short, when the light bulb went on, is when I was going through my journey. Obviously, I did not ask for help. So what I did, I read many books, how to go through a divorce, how to get through a divorce. I listened
Mhm.
to many motivational videos, on my way to work and from work, just to
Yeah.
occupy and just distract my negative thoughts, the negative inner dialogue story that I was telling myself. And I had no goals. I had no purpose in my life. I didn't know what I wanted to do. So you know what? I was living paycheck to paycheck, because I gotta pay child support, child care, and I gotta provide food, I gotta buy clothes, rent,
Mhm.
all that stuff, So the financial burden, it was just so overwhelming. You know what? I was
Mhm.
going to work, but for first couple of months, you are numb. You're walking around like a zombie because you're just trying to figure out what the heck just happened. We were such a happy family, right? We had such a good careers. We travel all over the world, right? We did different things, right? Kids were in extracurricular activities. They did different sports and so on. We had it all. And then now it just is blame. I should have been a better husband. I should have been a better dad. I should have done this. I should have done, and all that's just nonstop. I should have. I could have. Right. But
Mhm.
now it's already too late. So then I started searching because I was just sick and tired. Coming home after work, sitting on the couch, watching TV, and what? Because I knew I had so much more in me. Because I've
Yeah.
seen all these other successful people. I've seen what they're doing, but you know what? I just didn't know how to get out of this loop, of this stuck loop, right? Because I want to have more in my life, but I am doing the same thing over and over, right? Which is called insanity. So
Yeah.
I'm like, what can I do differently? So I asked myself, you know what? And I reached out to my friend because, I needed some extra income, to help me pay child support, childcare, and so on.
Yeah.
So one of my friends that I met at the networking events, he was in a mortgage industry. And I called him, I asked him, hey, do you have any side hustles that I can do, right? That you can teach me.
Hmm.
So he's like, hey, I do credit repair. I help individuals, repair their credit, improve their credit and so on. I'm like, wow, that's perfect, because many divorced men and women get their credit, ruined, during the divorce and
Yes.
so on. So that was a perfect field for me to learn. But obviously that involves some sales, and I was very shy. I did not know how to publicly speak. I didn't know how to sell. None of it, right? It just I was a rookie, because back then when I was married, I was kind of like this bird locked in a cage. And
Okay.
now, I'm out of the cage, I'm free. So okay. So then I told myself that in 2021 in January, I wrote a couple goals for myself, that hey, in 2021 I want to learn how to public speak. So how do I do that? And to me, it's what you're seeking. It's always seeking you, right? You will attract what you will focus on.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
once I wrote this goal, I was just focusing on it all the time. And out of nowhere on Facebook, I found Mr. Les Brown. He's a very good motivational speaker that I always listen on YouTube. And he had a program which was called the Power Voice, and it was a 3-month program which I enrolled. And in that program, I met so many men, so many women, phenomenal people from all over the world. And you know what? We shared, how to share your story and the power of storytelling. So I was blown away, when I heard other people's stories and how much impact those stories have on other individuals. Because,
Hmm.
I always thought that I was the only man, guy, person in the whole world going through a divorce, because that's how numb I was. I just didn't think what was
Yeah.
happening on the outside. So through this program, I met my coach, John Tallarico. He was a consultant of Bob Proctor. And I entered, but obviously before I hired him, I was afraid, because, that program, the 6-month program, cost a couple thousands of dollars. And all the
Hmm.
savings I had, basically, I had to spend it, for this program. And the fear was stopping me, right? Because what if?
Hmm.
What if it doesn't work out, right? What if if I don't study it? What about if I don't put in all the work? All these what ifs, right? Just all these limiting beliefs, this fear was just stopping me. So I had around 45-minute conversation with the lady. And then, I'm like, finally I made a decision that, if I want to make a difference in my life, right? If I want to change everything that's happening in my life, I have to commit to this. I have to invest in myself. So I did. And you know what? That was the one of many best decisions in my life, because in 6 months, Allison, that coach, my goodness, it just took this person that was nobody, that had nothing, and show them the possibilities, show them the gifts, show them the talent, extracted those gifts and talents that I
Hmm.
had deeply hidden inside of me that I didn't even know. He taught me about our mindset, conscious, subconscious mind, and about our stories, about fear, about goal setting, about purpose, all this phenomenal program. And obviously, it took work, because
Yeah.
I I had to rebuild myself, who I was as this broken person that did not believe in himself, that not had no purpose, had no goals. And he taught me all these things, set up a daily routine, right? Change my mindset, rediscover myself, who I am, who do I want to be, right? Rebuild my self-image and create this purpose in my life. So after I was done, and then later on I look back, I'm like, I have all these tools now. Why not share
Hmm.
them with others? Because while I was in this program, I was also using these tools, helping my friends that were going through a divorce. And they
Uh,
see a huge difference in it, right? So I'm like, wow, I can do the same thing, to help others in need. But then, I was dating this girl, and she's like, why don't you get a certificate or something? So she helped me look for a program, and I found this program called like a CDC, where I
Mhm.
got my certification. Was a 3-month program, 90-hour program, where I had to get tested, go through everything, make sure that I meet all the criteria because I have to follow my standards and so on. So that was one of it. And then I read the book by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. And what
Mhm.
he says that what really stuck with me is, hey, if there is a problem and if you can find a solution for them, you can make money out of it.
Mhm.
So I'm like, well, there was really no one there for me when I was going through my divorce, except I just had a divorce attorney. That's it.
Yeah.
Right.
But no one really helped me, with the emotions, what to do, how to come up with the parental agreement, affidavit, what decisions are right, what decisions are
Mhm.
not right, and so on. So I'm like, wow, I have this mindset that I can help people with, and now I have all that tools, for how to get through the divorce. So what I then I started searching, okay, for my company name. So I came out with Awakening Coaching, because this is what happened to me, where through this 4-year journey, I got the logo of the phoenix, how he was
Mhm.
reborn from the ashes. He burned and then he was reawakened from the ashes. So that's how I became, the company name Awakening Coaching, and that's how I started my journey, helping men, helping women through it all. Right now, also, I am a divorce guide on Circles app. It's a support group app for divorced men and women that are in various stages as well. I coach life after
Wow.
divorce, but I'm certified pre, during, and after. Every client is in different stages, and so I really love helping other men, helping other women, because it brings me so much happiness and joy to take this person that does not believe in themselves, that is heartbroken, that is emotionally broken, and if you can help him, heal his heart and reawaken his spirit and show them the possibilities that you have within you, phenomenal, mind blowing. The whole transformation.
I
That's
feel,
so awesome.
yeah, I feel this transformation um, that is coming from you because, Marcin, as you talked about before, you were shy, you were maybe afraid of public speaking. I'll be honest with you, I don't see that now
No.
in what I'm perceiving of you. So you've totally transformed yourself. Wonderful.
You know what, William? Thank you for the compliment. And it's unbelievable, what, with self development. If you
Yeah.
really start believing in yourself, like in 4 years, not to brag about it, but I want to show other men and women that it's possible. It's really
Mhm.
possible if you make the decision in your life, right? If you can figure out what is my goal, what is my purpose, I guarantee you, if you put in the work, it will happen. It will happen, because look at me, in 4 years became a certified divorce coach. Now I'm into motivational speaking. I'm a co-author of a book. None of these things before even crossed my mind that I would be.
Wow.
And also I have developed this very strong intuition that it's just, like slowly, easily just pushing me out there, like motivational speaking
Mhm.
never even crossed my mind. And now, when I go on stages, when I share my story, there's so many women come up to me and say, hey, thank you for being so open, for being so honest, and being so vulnerable, because they always want to know, hey, what are the men their exes are going through, because sometimes they might not show it, but they're
Right.
emotionally going through it as well. They're human beings, they have feelings, they have emotions, and so on. So I just love this. I am so blessed. I'm very grateful to God, for all these talents, for all the gifts that he has blessed me with, that he has chosen me, to help thousands of divorced men and women on this earth. And this is my mission, right? This is I love it. It's like when you wake up every single day with a big smile on your face, and today I'm going to make a difference, right? I'm going to impact X amount of lives. I'm going to help people. You know how big of an impact does it make?
Oh
it's
yeah.
it's
Oh,
it's,
I
it's,
mean,
it's
it's exponential.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then also to another exciting thing, sorry, I'm just going a little bit off, but now more people, through Facebook, Instagram, are seeing the work that I'm doing. So this doctor from India has reached out to me, and they invited me to speak in New York in July at the mental health awareness.
Oh
So that's
wow.
what I'll be
That's
speaking.
amazing.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, and then it's opportunities are just coming, because you know what, I love giving back. I love helping others. I love, showing the possibilities and transforming other men and women lives. I love it.
It's really, your story is really powerful, and it, and at the same time, it is just so relatable. There's no like superhero element to this. These are things that so many people, men and women of all ages, of all backgrounds, of all income levels, so many of us are going through. And like you said earlier, just having someone who can be objective and provide that hand to hold and lay out a roadmap so that that there is a way out. There is a way to the other side, regardless of what's on the other side or at the end of that journey, to know that when you're in your darkest moment with the confusion and the emotional overwhelm, it's temporary. Everything is temporary. Pain is inevitable. I think this is a Buddhist philosophy. Pain is inevitable, but suffering doesn't have to be. So we're all going to experience difficult things, but how we navigate those difficult things and how we grow from it really makes the difference. And I've been like fangirling over you, Marcin, because I think it's such a brilliant idea from a business standpoint. You really found this kind of unique space to sit in and opened yourself up to being able to help so many people. And I guess, maybe just as like a divorcee, I'm like, dang, I wish they didn't have apps back when I got divorced, but if they did, I would have been all over that Circles app, whether it's, finding support in strangers or loved ones or a coach. I mean, having somewhere to turn, especially in the very beginning, is so important. So thank you for the service you're providing to people. I know that you're changing a lot of lives.
Yeah, no, you're very welcome. It's it's like you mentioned back then, maybe there weren't as many apps, there weren't as many coaches, but now, like I tell everyone, there are resources available, right? You have different support groups, you have meetup groups. I have my own meetup group as well. Go out there, there are many different coaches in many different areas. Like for myself, the support team that I have, I have divorce attorneys, I have financial advisors, I have therapists, I have realtors, I have nutritionists, I have personal trainers, I have other business owners, I have other entrepreneurs that I work with, that we always collaborate. How can we add more value? How can we help the divorced men and women to help them overall, just make it much more efficient, easier process, because it's just takes such an emotional and physical toll on our body that it's just sometimes we just want to crumble, and just lock ourselves in a dark room and just disconnect ourselves from the whole world, because we think that, hey, our life is over. It's not over, right? What I say is, at that moment, first month or two or couple days, we do not understand, like, why did this happen to me, right? Because I asked God, right? I was angry at myself, at God, at the whole world, right? We had it all right, such a good person, such a positive happen. Why did this happen to me, right? But then I say that, God has seen things that you haven't seen. God has heard things that you haven't heard. And God made a move for you that you wouldn't make. And then as I reflected on it, I'm like, wow, that is so true, because he's talking about your ex-husband or your ex-wife. He's seen everything that you haven't seen, right? He have heard that you haven't heard, and he made them move for you. And then later on, as you go through this journey, he has to break you down first. Then he rebuilds you, and he prepares you for this amazing path journey that you're not even thought in your mind that you would walk on.
Yeah, it's the power of positive thinking, and also honing that instinct. It really goes a long way when going through these types of experiences. So thank you so much for sharing. I know it's just like a fragment of your whole story. You and I have talked a little more in depth, and I could talk about this subject for hours, clearly, but I just thank you so much for sharing this with our audience. And hopefully this is gonna, don't mind my screaming child in the background. Hopefully this is gonna help some people who are feeling lost right now at some point in the process of maybe a relationship starting to deteriorate, and just to let those folks know out there that not only is there hope, but there is also help and there are resources. So thank you so much, Marcin, for that.
You are very welcome. You are very welcome. And, to someone that will watch or listen to this video, I want to tell you that I really love you. I am here for you because you are beautiful. You are brave. I believe in you because I believe in myself. I am here for you. I will help you. I will do whatever I can in my powers to get you through this, because life is not over and you don't have to do this alone. I got this and I got you. Thank you.
Well said. Well said. And for those of you watching, male or female, how can you reach out to Marcin? You have the information here at the bottom of the screen. You can follow him. You can engage him in a conversation. And if you just happen to be in New York City for when he gives his big talk, you can be present to enjoy it that way as well. Marcin and Allison, thank you for sharing both of your time with us today. And as we wrap up, one thing I really appreciate is that you're the unicorn. Your ability to share vulnerability as a male, it doesn't exist too often. So it was very impressive and eye-opening to watch, hear, and feel you tonight.
Well, thank you for this opportunity, that I am able to use your platform to reach thousands of, individuals that are or might be, going through divorces. So thank you again. Thank you, Allison. Thank you, William. I really do appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
So welcome.
Have a good night, guys.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.